This was Khalilullah Firouzi in 2013, the ex-CEO of Kabul Bank, convicted and sentenced to 5 years in prison for his role in stealing more than $900 million. This was Khalilullah Firouzi just 4 months ago, seemingly a free man alongside Afghan government officials, signing a multi-million-dollar real estate deal. Firouzi's tale appears in a new report by Transparency International as a glaring example of the corruption that still plagues Afghanistan. This despite repeated government promises to fix the system and hundreds of millions of dollars of international aid invested in reform. According to the Global Anti-Corruption Organization and its national partner, Integrity Watch Afghanistan, the country is still beset by rampant bribery within the police department, a justice system manipulated by politicians and unqualified government employees hired based on whom they know.
A few years ago, this would have been unthinkable in the Afghan capital. A Kabul police chief in court for bribery and attempted murder. Men in his position have rarely faced justice here. Now he could be sentenced to 13 years in jail and a $23,000 fine. This is the new Anti-Corruption Justice Center, a special court with its own prosecutors and judges.
There
used to be a culture of impunity. Powerful people weren't prosecuted. It's because of this past that we established this center, so the culture of impunity will be erased and we can bring transparency.
The court currently has about 100 cases to deal with, including the police chief and other high-ranking officials. Sayed Ghulam Hussain heads the 10-year-old Corruption Investigations Office and says the new court means prosecutions move more quickly. But there are still major obstacles. No one believes things will change here quickly, but the court is being seen as a step in the right direction. However, the culture of corruption is deeply ingrained, and Afghans will need to see the guilty are punished before they believe the law applies to everyone.
The tyrant is sucking the nation dry, stealing millions of dollars a year from the Haitian people. Papa Doc's eldest son, Jean-Claude, is still a teenager, brought up in the palace living a life of luxury, and cut off from the concerns of normal Haitians. Nevertheless, his father decides that he will inherit the presidency.
Prior to that,
Haiti is now the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, crippled by a lack of education and racked by political chaos.
the institutions were destroyed, families were destroyed, the country in a whole was destroyed. The only one to benefit from those atrocities was himself.
How evil was Papa Doc? I think Duvalier was evil incarnate.
evolution of Robert Mugabe from a leader who was steering Zimbabwe to a bright economic future to a despot who bled his country dry and disposed of opponents who dared stand in his way. But with white farmers still owning the bulk of the land, veterans of the war and the unemployed grew impatient. A dispute with Britain over compensation for land redistribution saw farmers intimidated, beaten, or even murdered. Mugabe's government allowed it to happen, then facilitated it and encouraged it, ignoring court rulings that it was illegal.
I'm now going to have a reinforcement from Harare to come and take more farms.
How can you surrender something willingly that you've lived on for 60 years?
The consequence was that a country which was once regarded as the breadbasket of Africa began to starve. Harvests shrank, shelves were empty, and rampant inflation meant currency became virtually worthless.
I, Robert Gabriel Mugabe, in terms of Section 96, subsection 1 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, hereby formally tender my resignation as the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe with immediate effect.
The Yemeni economy has been suffering from rising inflation and a drainage of foreign currency reserves since the civil war broke out in 2011. Its ongoing conflict with Saudi Arabia has doubled the size of the poor and left many jobless.
The continuous Saudi-led airstrikes have blocked various Yemen transport systems, causing transport costs of domestic commodities to soar. Exports of oil and natural gas had also continued to drop in the past year, further limiting the sources of foreign currency.